Touching the game.
So, Frag. It's created by the same company that created Marvel Rivals, and it is a 5v5 character FPS where attackers attack a site and defenders try to defend it. Now you might say, what makes this different from Valorant? Well, that's where cards come into play. Each round, your team gets to select out of a couple of cards that will either help you or to affect the enemy in a negative way. Finally, there are cards that affect both teams, such as... I'm killing myself. Personally, I like this edition. Killing myself. I think it gives it a little bit of spice and sets it apart from most of the games nowadays. The game launched with a bunch of characters, so at least one of the characters will fit your playstyle. Now let's compare it to another similar game, Valorant. Valorant is also a 5v5 character-based FPS where you have to attack a bomb site or defend it. I'm gonna make a list so it's kind of even between, and we can really just compare them to the fullest extent. First, we're gonna go with gameplay. In my opinion, if you want faster gameplay, I would go with Frag. Valorant at sometimes can be slow, and the rounds being, the certain time they are, will take a longer time to finish. Frag, however, it seems that the rounds go by really fast, and the maps are a lot close quarters, a lot faster, and there's not a lot of rotating. It's more of a straight up duel. Also, growing up on COD, this is more opinion based, but I feel like the gunplay is just way smoother, especially with the fact you can spray better, and that's kind of the whole thing behind it. Plus, I kinda like the snipers. The game Frag is definitely more based heavily on COD movement and COD physics and like aim, all that stuff, while Valorant is more based on things like CSGO. Finally, Frag is only up to 6 rounds if you play comp, 4 if you don't, while Valorant is 13 round wins. Valorant by itself, one game will easily take longer than a Frag game. So we can easily compare this. Frag games usually take about 15 to 20 minutes, but Valorant, they can easily take up to 30 to 45 minutes. Finally, I want to bring up the overtime system in these games. At Frag, if both teams are 1 point away from winning the game, it gets put into a duel scenario where each person on your team picks a position and it puts you in a 1v1 against a player of the other team. Every duel will have one winner, and that one winner from the one duel will fight the next person in line from the other team. This is a very unique system that we haven't seen a lot of, and it has mixed reviews of people liking it and people not. Personally, I think it's just weird and relies on you having good teammates, since your teammates are forced to go into a 1v1 against a random player from their team, which means they could not do very much and just instantly die without doing any damage. While Valorant, it is a win by 2 scenario where it goes into overtime and the first team to win by 2 will win the game. So, in my opinion, I think the point goes to Frag on this one. Next up is everyone's favorite, the skins. Frag, for being new, has a good amount of skins for each gun and has skins for all the characters. While Valorant, over its times, the skins got really pricey and there's no skins for certain characters. But overall, there is more skins in Valorant. Personally, I believe all the skins in Frag look better, look designed better, have more character to them, while Valorant, a lot of them will either be plain like PNG looking ones or stuff with like very low effort put into them with not a lot of flair and kind of just simple. Also, the skins in Frag are a lot cheaper, and a lot of the skins you can unlock for free if you play enough and get enough gold, but even the skins you have to buy, they're not that much. So this obviously goes to Frag, and it's not even close. Now let's look at the weapons. Both games have a similar amount of weapons, but Every round, you can buy any weapon in the store in Fragpunk, while Valorant, you have to pay for it. But the weird thing about Fragpunk is that every half, you can only get a certain amount of each type of weapon. But the weapons themselves in Fragpunk, they feel way smoother, way cleaner, and the sound with the weapons is so clean, and Valorant doesn't even come close. Now, maybe it's because I grew up on COD, but I feel like the guns in Fragpunk offer more of a nicer, cleaner feel to them. So it might be weird, but I'm also giving Fragpunk the point here for the weapons. Now we're going to talk about a really weird one, the sound in the game. The sound of the guns in Fragpunk sound extremely clean and extremely nice, but that's really the only thing. The sound of the abilities, and especially the footsteps, which are key like information, are awful, and they often leave you to like awful calls and awful positioning because you thought you heard an enemy, but it's your teammate, then you get swung. While in Valorant, it's easy to tell whose footsteps are whose, and all the different abilities that you can hear popped and all that. Also, the directional audio is a lot better in Valorant, where in Fragpunk, it's gonna be hard to tell on if they're coming from your right side, left side, below, or above, which is a major issue that needs to get fixed. So, for this one, Valorant finally gets its first point. The final topic is about the competitive scene. In Fragpunk, the game is really new and there isn't really a competitive scene yet, but in Valorant, there is a massive competitive scene where there's like millions of dollars, millions of viewers who watch a lot of these pro players play in the Valorant Champions Tour, also known as the VCT. So, we're going to talk about what could happen in the future. Valorant holds a very consistent, steady, non-RNG based type of gameplay, which in a competitive scene is really good and really strong, and really shows who is better and who is not. Well, in Fragpunk, with a whole factor of the cards, there's a major RNG factor placed in, and it could cause a lot of matches and different things going certain ways depending on who gets what cards and all that stuff. So in the future, I think Fragpunk could have a competitive scene if it stays alive, but it definitely is going to be harder to get into and harder to have more exposure since of the RNG based factor of the game, which could hurt the game at the end of the day in the competitive scene. Unlike Valorant, which is a more consistent and skill based, match. For the final topic, I think the point's going to go to Valorant. Now, a lot of these points are opinion based, so if you have any comments, please leave them down and I can check them. Plus, there's many different other topics you could go into about the two different games that are a little smaller, a little nicher. Personally, I would try this game out. It's extremely fun to play with friends and play while it still has a population, because this game could easily flop like a lot of these other games like the Finals or X Defiant, which a lot of people are comparing it to. So I would play it while it still lasts if it does, but my opinion, I do think it has a major chance of becoming a good game, especially because it's behind the creators of Marvel Rivals, which currently right now is a massive game and one of the biggest in the scene right now. But only time will tell. But thanks for watching the video, and I hope you give Fragpunk a chance. No, non-sponsored, I should probably say. But thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, and go over to my Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mazarins if you want to see me play this game live or play Valorant live. It's a lot different from what just sit down and talk. It's a little more freakier, but we're almost to affiliate, so please, even if you can lurk in the stream, that would be major since the last requirement is 3 viewers. But with that said, I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.